G'day and welcome to Daily Insights and Storytelling with me, Moon Willow. While I think about it, I'll do the housekeeping first. If you haven't already, can you hit that subscribe button for me? I really have no idea what I'm going to speak about today. The energies for me at the moment are feeling quite deadened, and it's not quite back to going through the quagmire that I had earlier on in the week, because it doesn't feel particularly negative, but equally doesn't feel particularly positive either. It feels like we're off the roller coaster at the moment, but sort of in almost what I would describe as the eye of the storm at the minute. So whilst everything's hurtling off around us, I'm feeling, and I don't know whether other people out there are feeling it at the same time, but sort of really feeling like sort of sat. Just, I used to say when I was younger, when I had enough, that stop the world, I want to get off. And it's almost like the universe is providing that space at the moment of just giving a lull in the middle of everything. I'm very conscious of the fact that tomorrow night we've got a full moon, so reaching to completion. So it's almost like we've been pushed one way and the other recently, and have got to that point of like needing that deep breath. And tomorrow night's full moon and the energies that are surrounding that, because that is just tends to be really, really powerful. And it's like it feels like what's going to happen and what's going to shift tomorrow night is almost like the shifting of the veils is coming through to me. So there's been, so we've been talking about the light and the darker energies, and sort of how that's sort of been impacting us and going on a roller coaster, and not being able to see, and thinking 1 minute being up and the next minute being really down, and just really all over the place and quite chaotic. And it's like it's that sort of different energies to me is going to be sort of ended. So the completion of that sort of push me, pull me feel, hopefully, will be coming to an end tomorrow night. But it feels like it's almost like that deep breath before the great reveal, that we've been on this journey for so long that, and whether we've been aware of it or not, that doesn't matter. This journey has been going on for centuries. This war, this chaos has been going on for centuries, really. And as this year has gone on, more and more people have become aware of it, and they've drawn back their own veils, drawn back their own curtains to see behind what's going off, and having more an awareness of the different characters, actors that have been at play. So it's almost like tomorrow night is the completion of that, and that those veils are going to be drawn back, and more people are going to become more aware of the different actors and the games that people have actually been playing. And sort of that goes for me with the full moon, of actually having it, the full light shining into the darkness, that it is that, I love the moon anyway, obviously that is my name, but it's that real, in the darkest of nights, that bright light of the moon is actually going to highlight and show where the shadows are, where the darkness has been, so that we can actually sort of fully commit into a brighter and lighter future for ourselves going forward. So with that in mind, we'll see how sort of the crystals and the cards want to speak more, if about that or something else. I never really know. So we've got green aventurine. So going back into our heart space. So really feeling connected in with our heart space. But so not only is it a reveal, or allowing the moon to reveal what's going off on an external level, it's very much about shining into all of those corners of our heart space where we still have residual feelings of unworthiness, or that we're not good enough to be loved and no one's going to love us, and that sort of underlying dialogue, and actually bringing that up to the surface and realizing and really connecting with the fact that we are all worthy, that our hearts are worth loving, but the key is about loving ourselves first, and really having a look in there and learning how to shine our light externally at the same time. So the more we have that unconditional love for ourselves, the more we have that acceptance of our love, internal love in our heart space, realizing how much that we actually do bring to the world, that gives us the impetus and the ability to actually start shining outwards at the same time, that we can actually not only love ourselves unconditionally, but love other people and the planet, etc., unconditionally at the same time, and not having any judgments on ourselves, and therefore no judgments on other people, recognizing that we did the best we could and other people are doing the best they can at the same time. That doesn't mean that we have to stay connected with them. That gives us permission to move away at the same time within that. So yeah, I'm hoping that's making some sort of sense to people out there. Ooh, I'm losing you. A bit losing my train of thought as well, so just bear with me. So if you could focus on the cards for me as I shuffle. So the full moon energy is really, feels to me at the moment is quite key. I'll just split these. And apparently tomorrow night's full moon has a partial lunar eclipse. So even in the fullness, there is still the desire of certain people to actually shadow the moon, so that some things still remain hidden. But it feels like to me that that's not going to be possible, that actually it will be the start of everything coming to light. So sort of ending the smoke and mirrors chapter, and then as we move through tomorrow night's full moon, that actually things will start to actually be seen, and the completion of what's gone off before will actually allow us to actually see and open up more openly. We'll go with that. So the three cards that have come out are the ring, crosses back, and the basket of flowers. So the ring is, and really goes in with the green aventurine. So this is partnership. So in an individual reading, it may actually have connotations over relationships and the pairing. And even within this as well, especially with having it paired up with the green aventurine, it's actually having that internal partnership with ourselves, and actually having that authentic bond internally with everything that's gone off in the past and the choices and decisions we've made, is really coming to terms with that, so that we can have that really loving connection and that internal partnerships with all aspects of ourselves. So very much back into the integration idea. But also for me as well, it's like as we have more of that partnership within, and we start to understand the vibrational frequency internally as to what feels right for us, then as we start meeting people externally, we will know, it will make sense. We will have that vibrational match as well. We'll have that vibrational partnership externally as well. So for me, it is really very much about learning more about ourselves first, and that can be done with other people, but it's We can't define who we are based on another person's opinion, because they have their own journey, they have their own story, they have their own internal landscape, and they will be reacting from that. So it is using this eye of the storm, as it were. So while we're not being battered by energies externally, just taking this opportunity to really feel into ourselves and just have that beautiful partnership within, so that we can unconditionally love ourselves and just have that real sense that at all times we are doing our best, and sometimes that may fall short, but that is good enough, and it's about learning and moving forward at the same time. So we become more aware of what's acceptable internally to us. How we speak to ourselves inside as well is often reflected externally. So the more loving we speak to ourselves within, the more we will expect that from an external point of view. And if someone doesn't speak to us in a way that we would like to be spoken to, we can actually move away, challenge it, just realize that actually we deserve to actually be spoken to well. But it's knowing that how we speak to ourselves inside. So if we have a storyline going off that we're not worthy, that we don't deserve X, Y, and Z, then if somebody says that externally to us, we expect that as the norm. So we won't actually question that. So it is coming back and doing the work internally, having that really beautiful partnership with ourselves, and knowing that as we have that deeper connection within, then we will have more healthy and authentic connections externally at the same time. So the cross, as I've mentioned, I think it's come up at least once in the past couple of days, maybe twice, I can't remember. But it's very much about ancestors, the reason why we've come in, and our soul families as well. So as we have that internal connection with ourselves and connection with source at the same time, we become more aware of the part we play in our own world. And again, I think it was yesterday I was talking about so the generational stuff that we carry forward and we try and deal with, and sort of shifting that through, accepting some aspects of it and not others, but again coming within and having that honest dialogue with ourselves so that we have that better connection. But knowing that we are supported on an external level and our soul families. So as we start having that more authentic partnership within, so more of our soul family, our soul pods, whatever you want to call them, they will start to actually show up more and more. They've possibly been there throughout our lives, but we haven't been in a space to notice. So like with the full moon taking the curtain back, this is our opportunity as well to take the curtain back and look at people and relationships we've had with a new light, and actually maybe see that our vibrational match is similar to one of a soul family, and that they've always had our back as we have always had theirs, and continuing to move in that particular way, knowing that the steps that we do take, the more committed and integrated we are and more authentic we are, that will be reflected back to us on an external level. So the basket of flowers has various meanings, and bizarrely what's coming through at the moment is in regards to health. So it's, for me, it's heart health, emotional health, spiritual health. There's always the physical health as well. So some of what's sort of out there is that as we raise our vibrational frequency, we're changing our internal DNA at the same time. So as we become more at peace within, there isn't that internal fight. So we're not putting stress on ourselves. We haven't got our adrenals working. We're actually not in a fight or flight situation on a regular basis. So therefore our bodies can actually heal, and that will increase our immune response, so that whatever's going off on an external 3D level, our bodies will be able to cope with it better, because we're not doing it from a place of stress or distress, but actually from a heart-centered place, and one of actually contentment and health spiritual health. And that is, as we nurture our hearts, as we nurture ourselves on all the different levels, then that actually starts to have a huge impact on our physiological health at the same time. So we'll be less inclined to become ill. We'll be less inclined to be tired as we start to learn how to resonate and actually connect in healthy ways, internally and externally. Then we will have less of that dissonance, and we'll be able to move forward in a better and more harmonious way. So I'm hoping that's making sense to people out there. Feels like a short one today, but it feels like that's sort of what needed to come through. As I say, it's been quite a bizarre day in that respect, that it really feels like we're in that eye of the storm at the moment, and this is an ideal opportunity to actually improve our health, albeit sort of only a short window, because I have a funny feeling that in the next couple of weeks we're probably going to be bombarded quite a lot again, and that may become more difficult. So I think that's possibly why this card's come up as well, is just ensuring that no matter what gets thrown at us, that we do take time and space for ourselves, that we are eating healthily, that we're aware of what we're putting into our bodies. And also back to, as I said a couple of days ago, very much about our spiritual health as well, especially on an energetic level. If we're having these energies flying at us, I mean, okay, today doesn't feel as bad as it has done, that, as I say, eye of the storm. I don't know why I keep repeating that, but it's I've got this real insistence within that wants me to keep saying it, so that's why I am doing. So it is in that eye of the storm, it is just a brief respite, that it really feels like over the next couple of weeks that it's going to intensify in a way that none of us are actually aware of. And the only way that we can really get through this without ending up in ill health is by actually maintaining good health on all levels. So very much like I was saying the other day, really ground, really connect with our roots into Mother Earth, into Gaia, as she shifts. If we're connected to her, it's like being on a ship. We will actually go over the waves better. So really connecting into Gaia, really doing our grounding at least a couple of times a day. If we're starting to feel wobbled or distressed in any way, just take that pause, take that moment, really connect back into Gaia, really connect back into the earth. And then actually shielding and putting protections, and not just protections around ourselves, but protections around our property, our rooms, especially before we go to sleep at night, because there is the opportunity to actually be more open to energies beyond our control. So if we set up our intentions before going to sleep, that we're going to be protected through that. Putting our shields, whether that be the rose bush that I was talking about the other day, or just imagining that you're in a golden ball. One of the other ones that's used by a lot of people is the Merkaba, or the crystal pyramid, which covers you completely, so that you imagine that you are protected from all these energies. And then, as I said the other day, what you choose to ask to happen to those energies is up to you. But from my point of view and my perspective, it's actually to allow those energies to be transmuted into something that's harmless, that is not putting other people at risk, and not necessarily sending that back to the source, unless, as I say, I always do that with love and forgiveness. So it's not giving it back with spite, that it's actually giving it back with an awareness and unconditional love, so that can actually be absorbed back by that individual. But it really feels, and I know I'm saying it a lot, but it really feels like this is the eye of the storm at the moment, and things are going to become quite rocky. and a little bit difficult to navigate unless we have unless we take this opportunity to really ground, get our shields up, get our protections up, so that we can navigate from a space of safety, so that we can become aware of what's going off outside. Again, back to the concept of not hitting out, not kicking back, that it isn't from a place of defense, but it's a place of offense. And if we really know, and if we really integrate with our internal self, have that partnership within, then we will know what belongs to us and what belongs to somebody else. So if we start feeling really unhappy or depressed, and that doesn't sort of match up with what's going off, then actually really take that time and have a look at it, have a look where it's coming from. And if you can't see, then just pop it into Gaia, with the idea of transmuting in a central fire. But she's going through a lot at the moment, so actually it's probably better to send it up to source, so that it can be reabsorbed and changed into something positive, so that we can actually continue to move into a higher vibrational frequency and actually match our frequency up. Because if we start carrying or getting really bombarded with negative energies, then it's going to be really difficult to keep above the raging river underneath, or getting really tossed about in the storm. And it really feels like there is a huge storm on its way. So as I say, it feels like what's gone off for the past couple of weeks has been a storminess of and in itself. But it's like today, and hopefully tomorrow as well, that we're just sort of sat in that center space, making sure that we've got no cracks in our shields, that we haven't got anything that we've sort of not left unprotected, so that we can actually not be tripped up in the next couple of weeks, that we can actually notice what's going off, have a real sense of what's going off, make our decisions based on a full awareness, but not, as I say, a knee-jerk reaction, and just working through it in that way. I hope this makes sense to people out there. It's just come in. It's just, it feels really strong. It feels like I really needed to get that out there to you. So I really hope that this, as I say, is making sense. It's almost like there's this forceful energy that really wanted me to say all that. So again, please really look after yourselves, really centering ground. Make sure that that you're actually aware of what you're putting into your body, that you're making decisions based in awareness and not as a knee-jerk reaction, that your shields are up. And before going to sleep, if you haven't already got a protection or a shielding regime in place, then just close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths and visualize or sense that you are sitting. If you don't know what a Merkaba is, I know a lot of you do, have the thought of being sat in this beautiful crystalline glowing pyramid that is protecting you. Ask to do things from your higher self. Ask for your higher self to be a part of your journey at the moment. And if something comes in and you're not sure about it, ask your higher self or source to ensure that it is in your best interest, that this is actually something that will help you move forward in love and light, in unconditional love, as opposed to something that's going to pull you off into a darker space. So thank you ever so much for listening. I'm aware that I haven't done the energy sound, so I'm going to do that now. And we'll find out sort of what energy is coming vocally to support us through this time. So, thank you very much for being with me all the way through to the end. I don't know whether I mentioned it at the start. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me. If you would like an individual storytelling, don't hesitate to contact me and we can organise something through the wonders of modern technology. thank you very much for being through the whole of this with me today. And I will see you all again tomorrow, no doubt. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you all. Bye.